Getting the right environment, the right location for our coaching session is key. I know we say a lot of things are key and a lot of things are really important, but this one really is. Both myself and Simon and all the other coaches we work with would all agree that if we get the environment right for our students, our coaching session becomes a lot easier and a lot better for the students. In this lesson, we're going to look at some top tips to consider when we're thinking about picking the environment and picking the location for our coaching session. Remember, what we're trying to do is balance the environment against our students' needs and wants and their goals for the day. But also, we need to match the environment to the student's stage of learning. The environments that I find most rewarding to work in are those that are progressive. The ability to start in calm conditions and work on our paddlers' technical skills before gradually building it up throughout the day into more dynamic conditions is the best session for me. If I arrive at a venue and it's already big, breaking waves, and it's already too challenging, there's a good chance that I'm going to lose my students' confidence right from the beginning. All right, guys, great. So we've got here pretty nice and early in the tide, so it's just starting to build now. This is going to get quicker over the next hour, so it's a really good environment because it's going to progress. But I imagine there'll come a point where it starts to get too fast when all these eddies get a bit boily and squirrely.
So I chose to arrive at this moving water venue nice and early in the start of the ebb. So the tide was only moving gradually and would slowly build up throughout our session. This was a conscious decision by me, the coach, so that the lads that I was coaching could feel gradual improvement, they could gradually grow in confidence, and they weren't going to suddenly get thrown into an environment that they have felt uncomfortable in. Picking the right environment really is central to making sure our coaching sessions benefit our students. Students might choose to book a coach because they want to be taken into conditions that they might not normally choose to paddle in. They want to be suitably challenged and taken into what is known as the stretch zone. A good coach can gauge this well and can pick the right environment where they know they can make this happen. Here's Simon's going to chat a little bit more about the comfort, stretch and terror zone and how they're relevant to us as a coach.
When we're working with students as either a coach, an instructor or a guide out on the water, it's important to know where our students are in relation to their comfort zone. So let's talk about the comfort zone. The comfort zone is a place where a paddler's out on the water and they're absolutely relaxed, they're happy, they can think clearly and they can process information well. We also have what's called a stretch zone and a terror zone. Now the stretch zone is where the student is outside their comfort zone. They might start to have some form of restriction in their ability to process information, but they're perhaps not completely switched off. If someone's in their terror zone, this is somewhere where they're not going to be able to process information and they're probably working on the adrenaline, so the fight, flight or freeze processes, and they're not in a good place for being instructed or led or coached. So knowing where your student is in the zones is very important. The comfort zone for one paddler is completely different to another. And also the comfort zone for paddlers changes throughout a day and throughout the paddler's progression. You can change the size of the comfort zone for a paddler. And that's something that a lot of kayakers want to be able to achieve, is to be able to be comfortable in more advanced conditions. So we need to increase that comfort zone. And we do that by using the stretch zone. That stretch zone is a place where you can go into in a controlled way and come back into your comfort zone. The next time that you look at your comfort zone, you'll find that actually it's grown because you've been out into your stretch zone, you become more comfortable with the environment, and therefore you maybe the next time you go out, you're happy going out in that environment again. So your comfort zone has grown. There isn't much use for the terror zone. If you've ended up going into the terror zone, you're not in a great place for learning. You perhaps figured out where your limits are, but it's not a constructive area to be working within. When it comes to stretching someone's comfort zone by using the stretch zone, It's key that the student is in control of moving in and out of that comfort zone. In an ideal world, it shouldn't be the coach that's saying to move outside of the zone and when they can come back into it. They should have the ability to be able to control that, so feel more comfortable with the fact that it's their decision-making process that is taking them from their comfort zone into their stretch zone.
So here are some top tips to consider when we're thinking about picking the right environment for our coaching session. We're trying to match the environment that we use for our session to the students' aims and their stage of learning, or the abilities that they have. The better we know the students, the easier this is, but with careful questioning and with carefully picking the right environment, we can make this work. Progressive environments work great. Areas that we can start in calmer conditions and then gradually build up or poke our noses out into more challenging environments are where I really like to work. Students will also benefit from this because they have a sense of control and confidence will build gradually. Picking environments that give us lots of options for our coaching session are also worth considering. It's nice to have different options to perhaps do some rock hopping, maybe some rough water to practice rescues in, and a mixture of different options. Also, we don't always know the direction our coaching session is going to be going, so having options does help. Consider how we can move into the stretch zone with the environment we have, and be careful not to take our paddlers into the terror zone. Having a bad experience in the terror zone is really going to send our students backwards rather than forwards. Remember, we're trying to grow independence in our students, so involve them in the decision-making process on where we could go for the day. Let them look at the map and the chart, look at the weather forecast and the swell picture, and involve them in what you think the conditions are going to look like, and discuss some suitable venues as a team. And lastly, it doesn't always have to be massive conditions to be challenging. More confident students often think they need to go into the biggest surf or the biggest tide races to progress, when this isn't the case. Remember, through clever task design and manipulating the tasks, we can actually make more benign conditions seem more challenging.